I'm about to walk you through how I release a new album or an EP or a single. This episode is taken from my masterclass called The New Release Blueprint. The New Release Blueprint is a course that's only available in our Record Label Academy, but for these next few weeks, it's being made available to you all on the podcast as sort of an audio lecture or an audio book. And I'm only able to do this because of our friends at LANDR. You see, when you work your way through this course, you're going to get to the part where you need to upload your music to a reliable digital distributor, and that's where LANDR comes in. You may remember them as the place for online mastering, and they still do that really well, but they also now offer free digital distribution. You keep 100% of everything. If you cancel your membership, your music still stays up online. Plus, their annual membership comes with tons of useful tools for indie artists and indie record labels. Courses, sample packs, audio plugins, promotional tools, mastering, and more. Because they're friends of other record labels, you get a special discount by going to landr.com/other record labels. The link is in the description of this episode, and LANDR spelled LANDR. landr.com/other record labels. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Other Record Labels. I'm your host, Scott Orr, where we talk about the art and culture of running an independent record label. And welcome to Lesson 3 of the New Release Blueprint, titled Promoting Your New Release. Here's where we talk about how to create buzz around your release with effective marketing tactics that fit your specific style. We cover both launch day strategies and long-term post-release promotional strategies to help your music reach a wider audience. Well, I trust that you have the music sent off to your digital distributor. I trust that you've had it sent off to manufacturing if you're making CDs or vinyl or cassettes or all three. How fun. I trust that you have your Dropbox folder full of great assets like your bio, your press photos, your metadata, your audio files, your album covers. It's now time to promote your new release. Speaking of assets, I like to create a press one sheet. When I'm ready to send the details of my new release to members of the press, I'm going to create a one sheet. One sheet is a traditional document that was used from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. It literally was one sheet, and often it was printed in black and white, and it was sent to record stores or radio stations or newspapers or magazines to give some information, insights into the album or the release that they're promoting. It looks something like this. In fact, this is a fake template. Well, it's a real template of a fake artist that I'm going to provide in the course portal that you can use as a Word document or a Photoshop document. Or you could just use this as a template and go to Canva or wherever and make one based on this. It has simple details like the artist name, the album title, a little bio about the artist or the album or both. Maybe some accolades, some cool accomplishments that this artist has done. For fans of, if you like these bands, you might like this band. You can include some smaller details like when this album was recorded, the photographer credit, or who it was produced by. In the middle section, I have the album cover and a press photo. On the right column, I have the release date. I have the track listing, running time, your record label, the SKU and catalog ID, that's your barcode number and your unique catalog ID for your record label. We have what genre it is. You might want to include what subgenres it is, the location of the artist, maybe the artist's social media links. There's a lot you could include here. You don't have to include all of these things, and you can include some things I haven't included. At the bottom, we have the record label's name and contact information. If you're an independent artist, you can make that whatever you want, as well as the logo. This is the kind of thing that you can actually create just on a web page. I use a Squarespace page and I just duplicate it every time and change the details from a new release. And then I can just send that web page to whoever I'm pitching the album to. What's great about that is that you can actually include embedded items like a YouTube video or a SoundCloud link where they can stream the music right away. That's the most important. No one's going to download files from you via email or pop a CD in their car CD player to listen to your music. If you can send them a digital link to the music to stream super quickly, That's really important. That's why I like doing this as a web-based version. So if you're going to create one using my template in Word as a last resort or in Canva, that's great. But if you can make an online version that includes some embeddable stuff, some links to your social, that's even better. I also like to keep track of a press list. Here's a simple Google Doc I made. Now, I blurred out the names and email addresses just because I don't know if they're still relevant. This is an older one of mine. I don't want to share their names on here, even though I would gladly share contacts with you. But these are contacts that are more relevant to my genre, maybe not relevant to the music you're doing. But what's important is you just steal this format. So we have the media outlet, we have their contact name, we have their email, and then what type of media outlet are they? And then have I sent them an email? Have they answered? In fact, the types of contacts you can have would be bloggers, influencers, traditional newspapers, playlists, podcasts, radio, retailer, writer, YouTuber, you get it. Copy this format into Google Docs and do it your way, but it's really important that you have a press list on the go so you know who you've pitched to for this record, and then you can use that for future releases. Now you're ready to pitch to them. I send them a really friendly email. I address them personally. I don't do the scatter shot approach where I send to 100 different people or 1,000 different people at once. I try to be really intentional. I try to pitch to people who I think are actually going to like this music. I don't want to bother people. And I send it to them via email. Now, I might include a PDF of that press one sheet that I showed you. More importantly, I'm going to have just a couple of sentences, not paragraphs. And I'm going to say things like, "Hi, it's Scott from such and such record label. I want to share our newest release with you. Such and such album by so-and-so artist, releasing on June 1st, 2027. Period. New line. Here's a private link to stream the album." They click on it. It takes them to SoundCloud or a Bandcamp link or something super convenient. No passwords, no blocked pages, no download files, something that shows the track listing, the album cover. Super simple. I give a little description of the album, maybe describe where it was made, what's special about it. I maybe say it's for fans of these types of artists, maybe describe the genre or the subgenre, and that's it. Press send. And you do that 50 times or 100 times, and you keep track of it on that press list. Now, listen, if you send to 100 people, I understand 98 of them may ignore you. That could be bad luck. It could be bad music. It could just be that you need to build a relationship with those press contacts over the next couple of years. That's all completely normal. But there's some other marketing opportunities that you should create for yourself as well. I think that creating physical media as part of your release plan is a marketing opportunity in of itself. When I get the test pressings back for a new album that I'm pressing on vinyl, I can tease that on social media by playing a few seconds of this unmarked record that I've dropped on the turntable. People get excited about that. I can use those test pressings to auction them off for $100, and I'm only releasing one of them, and it's autographed, and you get to have it a month before the real album comes out. That's super special. I can bundle it when the album comes out for a high ticket price, or I can collect email addresses and give one away. When the vinyl comes from the manufacturer, I can film an unboxing video and show my records for the very first time. I can take pictures of my records in record stores, or have my fans who have received the pre-orders share their unboxing or putting it on the turntable. There's a lot of promotion that you can do because of physical media. The same is true for CDs to a certain extent and cassettes. Create video content like music videos, behind the scenes content in the recording process. I recently recorded a single that I knew I would release in, maybe 8 to 10 months from when I was recording it. And because of that, I was creating video content along the way. I was filming a vertical and a horizontal version of recording drums. And when my friends came over to record keyboards and recording guitars and vocals, I just filmed a lot of behind the scenes content to be used. Video content is super dominant. It's harder to do than any other type of content, but it's very important. And there are so many different things you can do. You can do interviews with the artists, unboxing videos, behind the scenes stuff, tons of great things you can do with video content. The same can be true with in-person events, great marketing opportunities that break free of the traditional modern internet mold. And that's things like holding a listening party in an art gallery or a bookstore or a coffee shop, doing a house show, doing a major release show at your local club, or even just a wine and cheese event where the record's just playing in the background and it's like an open house. That's kind of tying in all of these things. It's physical media, it's an in-person event, and you're creating video content from that event. So my question to you is, how are you going to create new, unique marketing opportunities? And that leads me to something else that I want to talk about, and that's your unique angle. Everyone does the traditional. They do a pre-release single, they do pre-orders, they do physical media, digital media, they try to get on Spotify, they try to get on college radio. There's things we've been doing for decades. What is that special angle that is unique to you as an artist, or to your record label, or to your community? Maybe you work in electronic music and people not only love the music, but they love seeing how the music was made. They like knowing what drum machines and what synths you used and how you patched them through this preamp into this guitar pedal into your DAW and what plugins you used. Maybe your genre really cares about that. Maybe it's jazz and they care about what professional musicians played on this and what other albums they played on. Or maybe this is a community that's more about lyrics and they want handwritten lyrics, or they want a book that's created of all of the lyrics as poetry. It's not a gimmick. This is an authentic element of your tastes and your personality as an artist, as a creative, and the creatives and artists in your community. And by community, I don't necessarily mean your local community. I mean the community that love the same things you love, whether that's vinyl records, whether that's jazz on vinyl, whether that's lo-fi hip hop on cassettes. You get the idea. In a minute, we're going to talk about the post-release strategy. We've talked all this time about the pre-release strategy. And right in the middle of pre-release and post-release is release day. Happy release day. I find release day can be a little bit depressing because there's all this momentum and lead up, and I feel like release day never feels like this big grand finish line. So let's get that out of the way. What should you do on release day? It's just one 24-hour period. So what should you do as an artist to promote your new release, whether it's a single, an EP, or an album? Or what should you as a record label do to promote your release? First of all, take the pressure off. We're going to talk about post-release in a second and how an album can actually live on for years and years and years and decades, as we've been seeing lately. So take the pressure off a release day. An album is not judged by the success it receives on release day, nor is a single. I, as a music fan, have discovered albums 6 months late, a year late, 25 years late. Having said that, I want you to flood your channels everywhere online and everywhere in real life that you can promote things. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, LinkedIn, maybe, a blog, your own website, your email list, DM your friends, text your family members, flood the channels, flood everything all at once. Leave no stone unturned on release day and celebrate the release. Throw a party. Get a cake. Seriously, take the pressure off release day, but at the same time, celebrate it. Oh, but one thing, save something. Don't give everything away on release day. Don't show all of the photos from your photo shoot. Don't give away all of the B-sides or the demos from this album. Don't give away your music videos yet. We're going to save those for the post-release campaign. Here we go. Post-release campaign. So, I really don't want you to think about release day as a finish line. It is now a second starting line. The first leg of the race was when you got your masters all the way to release day. Now you're passing the baton off to likely yourself again, and you are now entering into the post-release campaign. So sure, maybe it's a finish line for the pre-release campaign, but it's also simultaneously a starting line for the post-release campaign. Here we go. We need to take inventory again in the same way that we did for promoting this new release. We have to find out what assets do we have to promote the album as it continues to exist. So that could be things like B-sides or demo recordings or remixes. There could be photos from the photo shoot that no one's seen yet. Maybe we released a music video for the first single, and now we're going to do a music video for the second single. It's really important that you collect all of these assets that you haven't yet released. And so when you think back to your pre-release campaign, if you're still in the pre-release campaign, as you're going over that Dropbox folder full of assets, you're thinking about some of the things that we're going to release leading up to the release. We're thinking about some of the things that we're going to release on release day. But most importantly, or equally important, we're going to hang on to some things that we can release in the weeks and months after release day. These things that we're going to release, whether they're B-sides, whether they're standalone singles of albums that that didn't make the cut, or it's a remix, or it's another music video, or it's something completely out of left field. In fact, I've even released different formats after release day. So I did digital and vinyl on release day, and then I did CDs and cassettes in the weeks and months that followed as the demand poured in. It helped me elongate that campaign. So schedule your content. I think on release day, I'm releasing the most amount of content. On the week after, I'm doing one thing a day. On the second week after, I may be doing one thing every other day. And as we get further from release day, I'm perhaps dropping less and less content, but I'm still promoting the release in one way or another, at least monthly for the entire year after an album came out. And so that means you need to keep making content. Film the band on tour, film your rehearsals, do interviews, do blog posts, get your music on playlists. Don't dump all of your stuff all at once. Great successful release campaigns for a single or for an album. The people are sharing stuff all the time because listen, people are going to forget about you. Are they going to get annoyed by you? Unlikely. It's more likely that they're just going to forget to check out your release. One of the reasons why you want to continue to talk about your release is that on release day, maybe somebody was busy. Maybe they were at work. Maybe they're at the bank. Maybe they were sick and they missed that announcement that you have a new album out. Maybe they saw it and they're like, oh, I should check that out. And then you remind them a week later, but they're still busy or it's still a bad time. And then maybe 2 weeks later, they see another post and they're like, finally, I have a second to check out that record. That's how people work. Honestly, make sure you put just as much effort into the post-release campaign as you do into the pre-release campaign. It's hard to believe, but it's true. One of the questions I get a lot is, should I pay people to help me promote my new release? It's a good question. And there's some yeses, there's some no's, there's some maybes, and there's some hell no's. Luckily, it all fits into the 4 P's of paying. Paid ads. So this has worked for some people where they actually pay Instagram, Facebook, Meta ads, or some Google ads to promote a new album. That works if there's a high margin in your album. So if you're promoting a great looking vinyl release that has like $10 to $20 of profit, then you can afford to do a $1 to $2 Meta ad. But if you're just promoting a single, one song on Spotify, and every click costs you 75 cents, you're never going to make your money back. Now, maybe if they follow you and they listen to all of your music and eventually pay for merch or a record, that's just going to be really hard to quantify. I know some people will use a tool like Hyped It and Meta ads to drive people to a playlist. So maybe you make ambient classical music and you drive people to a study playlist that has 100 songs on it that are all in that ambient, relaxing mode. And of those 100 songs, maybe a dozen of them are yours or songs from your record label. All of a sudden now a 75-cent click makes a little bit more sense. You could also drive people to listen to your album on Spotify, but it can get a little bit expensive. So you really got to be careful. If you are paying for ads, make sure you're sending them somewhere that's really profitable so you can make your money back. Should you pay for publicists? Well, one of the things I've noticed about publicists is that there are really good publicists, and some of those people are super expensive and they might not return your emails. I know it's sad to hear, but they're super busy and they're in high demand and they cost a lot of money. And then the publicists who do return your emails and they do take your money, regardless of whether the music is good or not, I have a hard time trusting them because maybe they just want your money and you're just a little lazy when you could maybe do some of the research. So publicists are difficult because there are amazing publicists that are super expensive and out of the reach of every artist. And then there's some publicists that just kind of take that name and charge you just to send a couple emails and you don't get your money back. I think if you're new to this, I think you should do your first release campaign yourself and not hire a publicist. I think you should do your first couple of releases or your first couple of albums on your own, build up your press list, follow my template, get to know how it works. And then when you find out what your weaknesses are, maybe it's being organized, maybe it's sending emails, maybe it's finding emails, then maybe you could find a publicist who complements your weaknesses. Either way, it's important that you find a publicist who specializes in your genre, in your subgenre, in your music community. If you do like really weird metal and you're reaching out to a publicist who specializes in pop music, that might not be a good fit. What about playlist pitching using a tool like Groover? I like this, but I'm very, very strict with it and I don't spend a lot of money. I'm very, very picky. I don't even set a budget. What I do is I go through all of the playlists that I want to pitch to. I very strategically pick a song that I think is going to have the best chance of getting placed on one of these playlists. Then I narrow down my search on a tool like Groover, and I find the playlists that are super specific and super relevant to this particular song. I send them a very customized, unique pitch and say, this is why I think my song will fit perfectly on your playlist. And I specify which playlist I really like. And I only look for playlists that look really good, have been updated recently, and have a lot of likes and a lot of followers. So should you dedicate $50 to a Groover campaign or $500? That's not the way you should be thinking. You should just be going after the playlist that you would give your left arm to be on. Then whatever it costs to promote to those 5 or 50 playlists, then that's probably a good investment. Start small, pitch to a couple, learn from there. If they're not responding to the track, maybe don't invest more. But I wouldn't completely write off playlist pitching. I think it's a tool that can work. But what about payola? In some cases, people will say, I'll charge you $50 and I'll put your song on my playlist. Or it used to be I'd play the song on the radio station. That's not really what's happening anymore. But there's a lot of tools out there who will accept the submission from you, and you think that they're going to put your song on their playlist out of the kindness of their heart. But really, they have some requirements that they're going to charge you $50 and the song is going to be on there for at least a month. You have to promise to promote the playlist and also follow it yourself. I mean, there might be some cases where the playlist is so damn good and you think it's worth it, but I don't think so. I don't think Spotify likes these playlists, and I don't think they have a legitimate following in most cases. I could be wrong, but I would stay away from payola. I would stay away from paying to be on a playlist. Now, how's that different from playlist pitching? Well, playlist pitching, you're paying a smaller amount just for them to consider the track. And the really, really great playlists don't really accept money in exchange from being included on the playlist. That's what makes their playlist really great. My point in all of this is that a release campaign is a really, really long time. How long? Well, if it's an album, I would say at least 6 months prior to release day, and then an entire year after release day. The fact of the matter is, though, is that I think about the album cover and the album title and some of the promotional things I want to do while I'm writing and recording a record. And so in reality, for me, the life of an album is around 2 years. So if you're going through this masterclass thinking, what can I do this week to promote my new release? Well, there are a few things you can do this week to promote your new release, but I don't want you to underestimate this process. Planning and promoting your new release takes a long time and a lot of work. But for good music, it's worth it. And when you have that moment where the right fan connects with your record, that encouragement and that excitement and that connection between you and them can fuel you to make the next release and the next release after that. Let's face it, we love music. We're not going to stop making music. We're not going to stop releasing music. So let's just make sure we do it well. Thanks for listening to the New Release Blueprint. I hope you found this episode helpful. Thanks again to our friends at LANDR for sponsoring today's episode and making this content free week after week. If you want to learn more about the New Release Blueprint, to watch the masterclass and get access to more of the resources from this course, then check out our Record Label Academy by going to otherrecordlabels.com/academy. Not only does it have the New Release Blueprint Masterclass, but tons of other online courses, resources, books, and templates for you to build and grow your independent record label. Go to otherrecordlabels.com/academy.